Hey everybody, in today's episode, it's myself, Benjamin B, and Dr. T. Hey, listen, if you're a family member and you're wondering how to measure success for yourself, this is an episode that you're going to want to listen to. A lot of times, the addict and the alcoholic, they know when they are successful. Obviously, they're staying clean, they're staying sober. But how do you, as a family member, measure your own success? How much rent is this taking up inside of your head over your addict loved one? We get into all that and more. But before we get into it, let's talk about today's sponsor, SoberLink. SoberLink, where we talk about tools in our toolbox when it comes to sobriety. SoberLink would be a good addition to. What is SoberLink? It's a portable breathalyzer device. It has facial recognition. It's tamper-proof. You can schedule your test times, breakfast, lunch, dinner time, whatever works best for you. And you can set it up with an accountability partner. Maybe that's a trusted family member, a therapist, a sober support, whatever. Now, it does not take the place of addiction treatment, does not take the place of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is something to just give you a little bit of extra accountability. Now, if this is something that you're interested in, you can go to soberlink.com/RRT to receive 50% off of your first device. Again, it's soberlink.com/RRT to get 50% off of your first device. Enjoy the show. Here we are, Real Recovery Talk. I'm your host, Tom Conrad. In today's episode, we've got Benjamin B.
What's happening, everyone?
And we've got Dr. T.
Hi, everybody.
First things first, thank you for tuning in on the podcast app, whichever one that you choose to use, and thank you for watching on YouTube. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com, and ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message, right, peeps?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Got a funny, so I posted that thing about Christy Teigen.
Right.
And that, I mean, evidently people care about celebrities and their substance use. So I got another one. Britney Spears. Did you see the latest on her?
No.
Okay, well, TMZ. Yeah, she was on a flight, a chartered flight from Mexico to somewhere in California. I want to say LAX. And she was smoking a cigarette on the airplane. And let me see if I can find it.
Did she set off the smoke alarms or something?
Yeah, you could get in huge trouble for that.
Well, it says it's like federal law.
Offense,
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, the headline from TMZ, Britney Spears, oops, my airplane debacle was incredibly funny. Britney Spears has addressed her shocking airplane behavior from Thursday, and she just doesn't seem to think her actions were, well, toxic. See what they did there?
Yeah.
Basically, she claims she thought she could smoke in the JSX jet because the drink holders were located on the outside of the seat. She adds, my friend put it in my mouth and lit it up for me. So I was like, oh, so this is a plane where you can smoke. She also claims she tried vodka for the first time ever during the flight and says it made her feel so clear and smart. I mean, has she lost her marbles or not?
Well, her marbles have been lost a long time ago.
Pretty crazy. I mean, I'm going to venture to say that she has drank vodka before.
And smoked cigarettes on a plane before. Obviously, she thought she could get away with it. I would assume, I mean, I don't know. I don't fly private. But on the private jets, maybe there's a little bit more laxity there.
Do whatever you want on a private jet like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really sad to see, but I mean, she was a childhood icon.
They destroyed her though. I forget like the details, but I've seen little stories where like they had her all medicated and all kinds of nonsense.
Yeah, well, she's got mental health issues for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That knife dance that she did, that was rather funny.
Yeah.
Somebody just posted about that. Matt Walsh from Daily Wire.
I missed the knife dance.
You did?
Oh, you got to see it.
We'll show you after.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she didn't. This isn't her first alcoholic beverage.
No, that was the most outlandish thing. The smoking on the plane was bad enough, but then you got to top it by saying this is the first time you ever drank vodka.
Right.
And it made you feel so clear and smart.
I don't know about smart, but, if she does have mental health issues, maybe it's calming down her, her cortex, just racing thoughts, just calmed it all down. Maybe that's why it's important for her and her mental health issues to consider like medications.
Or she could talk to Joe Rogan and get on some nootropics or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, some on it. Get on it. Right, Ben?
Is that their advertisement?
Well, no.
Well, you're going to coin that for them?
Have you ever heard of On It?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
All right. So here we are. Anyways, that's the celebrity news of the day. Tune in on Wednesday for more.
Really?
No, actually. So
No, actually.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm releasing the Big Book study every Wednesday moving forward. And I've been doing it now for the last 5 Wednesdays, maybe 4 Wednesdays. So if you haven't, for whatever reason, joined the Big Book study, which we only have 1 week left, they are going to be releasing on the podcast app and on YouTube every Wednesday. And I think this past Wednesday would have been part 1 of more about alcoholism. And it was 23 weeks in total.
You guys marathoned it.
Yeah. It was good though.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
I was teasing Eric in a loving way the other day. I'm like, it's a second coming of Bill W. Yeah. He is so passionate about it.
Oh, he is.
I went to our barbecue yesterday for our clients for Memorial Day, our little pool party, and he won't shut up about it.
Yeah.
He is so passionate about it.
I'm proud of him. It's something for him to like have as his own.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. He's like, dude, everybody's going to watch these on YouTube. Everybody. I'm telling you, we got to start releasing them on YouTube. And well, they got like 10, 15, 20 views. I'm like, Eric, you got to start sharing them. Well, how do I do that? So I got to show him.
How do I use a phone?
I got to show him how to share it. But anyways, I got a question for you guys.
All right.
This comes from listener Mary F. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of her questions is, how does a family member measure success? For the addict, sobriety is a measurable accomplishment. How do we as family members know we are on the right track? I mean, I think I'm doing well, but then my son's number pops up on my phone and I immediately get sick to my stomach and stressed, even though he is sober right now for over a year. There's been a long history of issues and so on and so forth. So it's hard to put all that behind me. How do I measure progress?
Ooh, I like that.
I do too.
I'm gonna throw out my umbrella statement. I would throw back at her, not what are you measuring as far as success, but who are you measuring?
Elaborate.
Take a look in the mirror, because with what you were talking about, where her son pops up on caller ID and she feels a negative feeling, the success would be driven off of self, not off of what he's doing, which I know is easier said than done. But at the end of the day, this goes to the families need to be doing their work. Because of the 3 C's, Tom, which are what?
Well, it's the 4 C's. Oh, no, it's the 3 C's. You didn't cause it, you can't cure it, and you can't control it.
What was the 4 C you were going to add on?
No, I was thinking of the 4 G's, which don't ask me what those are. I have them written down up there.
Oh.
It's get over yourself, give it to God, get on with your life, or I don't know. It's really good though.
I'll check it out after.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying though? Like, Not what are you measuring, but who are you measuring?
Well, I think that's what she's asking is like, how do we measure ourselves as family members? How do we know we're on the right track? Because according to that, even though her son is over a year clean and sober, still gets that like sick feeling in her stomach.
Well, that sick feeling is a visceral response. You know, it's like if you ever got sick from drinking too much alcohol and puking, anyone who's not an addict, you're like, oh, you know, you have that associated, right? It's operational conditioning. Like we know in psychology, we know what it is. So she was used to this visceral response. And there are therapeutic techniques that you can work with someone to break that response, you know, but obviously there's still a connection there. So that visceral response is just a learned response that she's had over all these years. And it's not just going to go away. That's something that she needs to work on probably with a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
But my answer to that question would be, again, what Ben said, what are you doing for you? You know, are you doing a daily or a weekly inventory about yourself and how you continue to have self-growth and self-help? So what does that look like for you? Have you done one thing today that you enjoy doing? Have you, you know, if you like journaling, if you like going to the gym, are you putting yourself first? You know, what does that look like for you? And, you know, if you're a part of Al-Anon, are you regularly going to meetings? Are you regularly in the community? Have you built a community? Are you still active in your community? Are you as active as you would like to be? Just things that for yourself that you can measure if you start tracking it or journaling about it.
Yeah, she's somebody that, and I've spoken to her, and I told her, look, the fact that you're even asking these questions is a positive.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times family members and loved ones, they go through and just assume that it's none of their responsibility. It's not their problem. And sometimes that's not a bad approach. You know, if it's because sometimes they may need to get into that mindset in order to stop the enabling, right? They go from full enabler to, you know what? I don't care at all anymore. And they go from one end of the spectrum to the other. And I do believe that she was kind of there at some point, but I like what you said, T. That's a learned response. And I get that. Every time my dad calls, I get that like, ugh, what is this about? You know? Or if Brookdale calls, the home that he's in, it's like, uh-oh, what happened? You know what I mean? Even though he's just calling me to say he wants me to bring him salt and vinegar chips next time I come to visit, you know? Or if I call him and he doesn't answer, and the exact reason why is because when he had a stroke, I called him, he didn't answer. Half hour later, I find him and he has a stroke or had a stroke, you know? So I think that it's something that is natural. And honestly, I don't know that there's anything wrong with it. Now it's uncomfortable, but seeking a therapist, you know, would probably be a good option.
Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, I was going to say to start measuring what you're doing versus measuring what they're doing. There's this version of the serenity prayer that goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know that one is me. In other words, going back to like as we've all said, start working on yourself. That's going to be the measurement of success, because it all boils down to, if you start taking care of yourself, the addict alcoholic generally, hopefully starts following suit. Because you've stepped away from the enabling behaviors, because of all that, you're allowing them to have their process naturally. And I was just talking about it the other day with somebody, and I talk about it all the time, but like, why would I stop shooting heroin if heroin is not uncomfortable for my life? I get to get high, and you're providing everything for me. But so when someone starts working on themselves, essentially what they're doing is detaching themselves from the outcome, because the outcome's not in their hands to begin with. I mean, how many parents, loved ones out there have tried for years to help their addicted son or daughter, to no avail? And to your point, Tom, they step back and all of a sudden their loved one gets sober. My mom did it with me. She basically, in her words, put me in God's hands. Like, she took a step back and let whatever happened was going to happen. And ironically, that's when I got sober. And I don't know if there's necessarily proof behind it, other than statistically, we hear it all the time. I hear the same thing all the time. Mom or dad took a step back, loved one got sober all of a sudden. It happens time and time again. Why do we hear that so often? There must be something to it.
That's why I don't. Wait, you were going to say something, T.
Oh, I was going to say it's the analogy of, like, if you had a person in early recovery, right? And say their drug of choice was IV heroin or fentanyl, right? Like, as an IV drug user, you start having a visceral response when you start thinking about getting the drugs, going to buy them. And this response, like, just keeps increasing. You need it. You need it. Like, it's like uncontrollable, obviously. And, that association with the needle and getting the rig ready, or even if you're an alcoholic and you're driving to the liquor store and you're like fiending, this visceral learned response, right? So if you had someone in early recovery, how would you walk them through that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how, and the way to walk them through it, and everyone's different, but it's processing those feelings. Because if it happens every single time, you can't obviously stop that response because it's happening. So you have to take a step back and start processing little by little and changing your behavior little by little. And then you have to start driving a different association, right, with it, because then that learned new association will take over the old association. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're essentially having to reprogram your body. And this is the importance of family members getting, for instance, therapy. If you, like, for instance, you brought up the addict with seeing the syringe and on their way to get the drugs and all that. Like, as soon as I heard the dope dealer had more, I actually got sicker.
Right.
I heard some addicts talk about, like, they hear the dope dealer has it, they feel better. I would get sicker until I got it in my hand and, like, was actually doing it. But there's this thing called exposure therapy, and I've talked about this before. I went to a treatment center in Minnesota, and I think this is absolutely crazy, but it's case in point where part of our group that we had, what do they call them? Caseloads. We had a caseload at this treatment center where it was the same people in a small group every single day. It was like your little family at the treatment center. It was like 6 guys and the therapist. Same 6 guys met every morning for the most of the day. And they busted out this shoebox. All of a sudden, I open it up. There's syringes, there's spoons, there's lighters, there's matches, there's cigarette filters, there's cottons, there's cotton swabs. I'm like, and the therapist tells me to make up a shot. And I'm like, but my visceral response, like my palms start sweating, and she has the other clients report what they're seeing, and like they can see me responding physically. But the reason I bring it up is the idea behind that exposure therapy is so that you become aware that your body is uncontrollably doing these things, a reaction that you're unconsciously is happening. Where, and the same thing, if you look at EMDR, which stands for eye movement desensitization. Oh, now I messed it up.
And reprocessing.
The reprocessing part is the part that I wanted to bring up. And because for a parent, I mean, how many parents do we know who have found their kid overdosed, got them to the hospital, safely, or the paramedics got there. They're still alive, but the parent is traumatized. Just like the phone call that we were just talking about. You get the phone call, the pit of your stomach, and you're like, ugh. When you get therapy as a loved one, you get this awareness that your body is responding in a way that's completely unconscious. It's a survival, fight or flight.
Mhm.
So essentially, it's really important to do this work on yourself. Again, bringing me back to my point in the beginning, start doing the work on yourself. That way, when this involuntary reaction happens, over the course of time, you still have your wits about you because you're reprocessing it with some sort of therapy or something along those lines.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, though, family members look at this or hear this and they're like, oh, okay, well, that all sounds great, but where do I begin? And just the same as what I told Mary, well, the first thing is asking the question of how. What a lot of times people fail to even get to that point. And they'll go through okay, I'm going to give it to God. But do you really? And I think that a lot of times that is not a cop out, because I think intentions are pure there. We want to give it to God, right? If we're spiritual in nature. Or if we're not spiritual in nature, I'm just going to let go of this and not deal with it. But if we don't do stuff in replacement of, we're going to go back to it, because Ben, like what you always say to him, it's not or you always would ask the family members, who is your drug of choice? Well, if you're used to controlling the situation, or you're used to going and having these types of responses, then naturally, if you don't fulfill it, like you were saying, T, with something else, you're going to go back to that. And that may be in a week, that may be in a year, we don't know. So you really have to take an active approach on working on new skills, new ways to cope with this stuff. And so I think it would probably make sense for us to rattle off a few things that family members can do. And I would say one of the first ones is, and I think, and I always bring this up, is that finding other people that have gone through this process.
Yeah.
The community aspect of it, I think, is the strongest.
Something came up interesting the other day. Kind of to your point, you got to do something. Start somewhere. So there's some obvious answers out there for family members where you ask, where do you start? Go get a therapist. Try that. That doesn't work. There's Al-Anon. If that doesn't work, or maybe do it all together. But
can I pause you real quick?
Yeah.
Don't lose your train of thought. I think the first thing they should do is join Family Reconnect.
Tom, you shouldn't have cut me off.
Oh, darn it. All right, go ahead.
Because gosh darn it, you should really join Family Reconnect. And let me explain why. I was off last week. It was the week before. We did a little soft launch. It was by invite only, because we wanted some feedback to make sure that when we launch on June 3rd, that we're covering all our bases. So there's some families that we already know that we wanted their feedback on some stuff that could definitely be covered. And something interesting came up that I had never thought of before. And I'm guilty of this. We've all done it. Where I tell a family member, well, go to Al-Anon. But something that I didn't think through, that one of the moms brought up to me, it was I don't know if she did it intentionally or not, but it came to mind. I'm like, you know what? We tell our clients to go to meetings, but wait, no, we don't tell them. We actually take them, we hold their hand, we walk them in, we introduce them to people. We literally give them the introduction. They're not going in blind. But so at the same time, I have this expectation that a family member is just going to show up to Al-Anon without me holding their hand,
Right.
and they're going to excel in it. I thought of what an unfair advantage our clients have getting into a 12-step program, where I'm going with the Family Reconnect thing, if people join Family Reconnect, they have us as their liaison, their guide, to walk them through what to look for, what to ask, how to, I don't know, carry yourself at a meeting, so to speak, to get the most out of it. Go to Al-Anon while doing Family Reconnect, because I just failed to connect the dots for so long. Because the same thing happens, dude, where families show up and they're like, oh, I didn't get anything out of Al-Anon. Well, if I showed up there by myself, without other people holding my hand, I wouldn't have got anything out of it either.
Yeah. Those were good dots to connect, Ben.
Yeah, dude, we're there to hold your hands.
Yeah.
So join Family Reconnect, gosh darn. If you're listening to this podcast religiously, it's not expensive either. What we're doing, we've made it very affordable to meet once a week.
Potentially 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
Depending on what you do, general or VIP.
But plus the private Facebook group, which is a forum for people to always have access to 24/7.
Yeah.
For questions, guidance, concerns, what would your recommendation be on this? What would you do if you were in this situation? What would you tell someone?
Yeah, it's going to be a really good community. And that kind of plays into my suggestion. So T, what would be something that you would suggest a family member if they're like, okay, well, that sounds good. I need to, fill this in with something else. What would that be?
My biggest thing is self-accountability, because you can say, oh, it's like starting a diet. I'm going to do this and this and this on Monday. Well, I'm going to start next Monday, and then I'm going to start next Monday, right? And there's no accountability for self. So what I mean by that is everyone's situation is different. So let's say your issue is with setting boundaries. Well, then at the beginning of that week, write down 5 boundaries that you're willing to set and uphold. And then on Sunday night, do an inventory. Okay, these are the scenarios that arose. Did I set the boundaries? 1, and did I uphold them? 2, if I didn't uphold them, why? Or communication, or whatever that looks like for your particular scenario. There has to be some type of accountability for self.
Or even
growth.
One boundary.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Whatever that looks like for each person in their own scenario.
I love that you brought up accountability, because my sponsor in particular brought up a saying that I never forgot. You said you can't spot self-deception by yourself.
Right.
Like, and for instance, how often are we guiding families through this process? Let's say we've done an intervention for them, their loved one's coming to treatment, where we bring them into this process and we give them suggestions, and they'll call us in a panic. Oh my God, this isn't going well. I'm doing everything I can. I'm putting max effort. And then we'll straight up ask them, well, did you do this one suggestion that we gave you? Well, no, I haven't done that yet. Okay, do that and then check back in. And then they'll call you all panicked and stuff. And I'm doing everything I can. Well, did you do that one suggestion we gave you? No, I didn't do it. Like, that they're being dishonest with themselves, not intentionally. It's a natural.
It's their habit. It's their routine. They don't know different.
And let me throw this in there too, with the accountability thing, just to hit it home, because I literally just did this an hour ago. I schedule out my own personal therapy sessions. I like doing them on Mondays after work. And I was sitting down today. I did my last scheduled one I had this yesterday. And I'm like, oh, do I really want to schedule these right now? And I'm like looking at my calendar, and I just throw them in there, and I know they're there. I know they're in my calendar. Now I'm going to be there. If I didn't do that today, I'd be like, yeah, I'll continue therapy. I'll go and I'll jump on a couple weeks. But again, having signed up, being there, I'm going to show up. I'm going to get better. That's all there is to it.
Well, and two, that the other thing, and not to make this all about Family Reconnect, but why not? What people pay for is like something that they're going to commit to.
Mm-hmm.
Al-Anon is free. You can go, but a lot of times people don't fulfill in the blank. And I do think, well, I know that we're going to be doing a lot of things that Al-Anon just doesn't do, right? That's just the way it is. We're going to have people that are in recovery that are going to be coming in and speaking on a regular basis. We're going to have a bunch of different experts in the field speaking on this stuff. But I do think that the financial investment, whatever it is, fill in the blank. If there's some sort of financial investment, there's more of a draw to actually commit to it.
Yeah.
And
well, it's the basics too with I get the money thing for sure. But for instance, like that's the importance of getting a home group where like, because down here, there's meetings all over the place at all given times. If I'm just like, oh, I'm going to play whack-a-mole with the meetings and just show up whenever because they're all over. But when I pick a home group and going back to accountability, people are expecting me there, the same meeting, the same week, every night, I'm more likely to show up. There's just so much to that. And that goes to what we're talking about. We're going to be meeting every Tuesday. That's your home group. And you're paying for it.
Right.
So double whammy. People are going to be wondering where you're at if you don't get on.
Yeah, I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people, parents and family members over the last couple of months in preparation to this. And a lot of them have said, we wish that we had access to something like this when we were going through our process. Because they just don't know.
Here's the other thing, too, is people that are new tend to not just want. This goes for people in early recovery and for families, too. It goes, not only do they want to, but they need to be able to crosstalk.
Yeah.
When appropriate. It's an appropriate setting for it. Because you show up to like...
Give an explanation of that.
Okay, so at an Al-Anon meeting, let's say the three of us are an Al-Anon meeting, and Dr. T, shares on something, and she's bumming about her situation with her loved one. Whatever she shares on, I'm not allowed to chime in and be like, oh, Dr. T, based off of your share and your situation, this is the feedback that I'm going to give you. You can't do that. It has to be about you, about your situation. You can speak in generalizations, don't get me wrong, but you're not allowed to talk directly to one person. You're talking to the entire meeting, so to speak. Is that a good explanation of it?
Yeah, you basically got to keep it about yourself at all times.
Yes.
Because it's easy to deflect your own issues and not acknowledge them and give other people free advice on their stuff sometimes and not kind of acknowledge your own issues at that moment in time.
That's kind of like the difference between having the meeting and having a sponsor. Like I can go to my sponsor on a level of like, my sponsor and I, we could crosstalk and have a conversation with each other about details and specifics. But in a meeting, you can't.
Well, nobody likes to be should on. Please don't should all over me. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. So on and so forth.
Yeah.
Ben, give us one. Somebody says, "Okay, easy. I'm gonna let go of this, but I need to fill it in with something
So you
positive.
said community. You said accountability.
Self accountability.
Hmm.
I really like yours, by the way, too. I need to practice that myself.
I do too.
Every
That's
Monday
why.
comes, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do it Monday. I'm gonna meal prep, and I'm gonna do the whole. And I do meal prep, but sometimes I don't eat it, and I'm like,
It's easier. I'm at work. I'm just going to get takeout or go eat somewhere.
yeah, there's a great taco truck across the street. I'm like, oh, it's a burrito. I mean, it got all your major macros, carbs, fats, protein, Anyways, go ahead.
I'm going to throw out a generic one that normally I can't stand, but it's something I've been working on. I hate it when people should me on this one. Self-care.
It's very broad, but elaborate.
Well, for instance, making it a priority. I always say the gym because I love the gym. Or making it a priority. I went and I got a massage last week when I was off. And I should make it a regular thing. That was really good for me, dude. Really loosened me up. Some toxins came out, stuff like that.
Some toxins?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
I don't know.
Did you smell weird after?
No, when they go deep tissue, it
right.
releases everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt loose.
And it releases endorphins in your brain.
Yeah.
Thanks for rescuing me, Dr.
It's a good reset.
Self-care, it's stuff like that. Making time for myself, doing things that I enjoy doing, not feeling responsible to somebody else. Now, I can't get selfish and do that all the time. I know people who take that to an extreme.
No, that's what I was saying. Once a week, what's one thing that you're going to do for yourself? Same thing on that Monday morning, this is one boundary I'm going to set. This is one thing I'm going to do this week for myself. You know, we're used to doing gym every day, so we can't say that.
Why didn't you do this?
Oh.
See?
We're used to eating our diet every day. But yeah, that's one thing for me. I have a membership to one of the massage places, and I've always said I'm going to do this once a week.
Do you?
And I never. I don't.
Oh,
I
you
need
don't.
to. But
Hand and stone?
Yes.
How many packages do you have?
Oh, I have a ton.
I have like 9 or 12.
And then I
think.
tried to cancel. Oh no, I have way more. I haven't gone in like 2 years, and they charge me every month.
Yeah, so you have a lot.
Yeah, and I try to cancel, and they won't let you cancel. You have to go in there, or talk to one of their sales reps to cancel, and then they try to like talk you out of it.
Well, what you can do is pause it, because I just went through this.
Okay.
Yeah, you pause it, and then just pause it again, and then pause it again.
But this goes back to, we shouldn't do that. We should be utilizing it. Like,
Right.
That's a once a week thing that we need to set for ourselves and uphold. And those are tangible things that we can follow every week that family and members and loved ones can do.
Yeah, another thing that I like telling people or suggesting, right, Ben, is you said something that's interesting. Find something that you or do something that you enjoy. A lot of times they don't know what they enjoy. And really going on a discovery mission of figuring out what the hell do we even enjoy? Because think about it. If we're communicating with a family member or loved one that has somebody in their life that is struggling with addiction, and let's assume it's a mom or a dad, their son or daughter is going to be somewhere between the ages of 18, most likely, to anywhere upwards of 30s, somewhere in their mid to late 30s. Safe to say somewhere in there. They've potentially been, and let's assume that their addiction or their experimentation with drugs and alcohol started at 15. You could be talking to somebody that has been dealing with this for the better part of 20, potentially 30 years. And to think that they know what they enjoy could be extremely unrealistic. And so really figuring out what it is that we like, and that can be very difficult for people to do. And you don't even have to have somebody in your life that struggles with addiction to not know what you enjoy. There's things that I don't know that, like, I oftentimes reference the podcast. I didn't know I enjoyed all the technical side of recording a podcast and the editing, although that's debatable. I don't really enjoy that now. But all the stuff that goes into it, I didn't know I enjoyed that stuff. You at one point didn't know you enjoyed firearms. T, you didn't know at one point you enjoyed whatever it is that you enjoy now. What is that, by the way? You work a lot. So.
I work a lot, but I've stayed true to, like, growing up. I was always an outdoor kid, so I always go snowboarding.
Yeah.
You know, I don't live on that side of the United States anymore, but I always go snowboarding every year. You know, I always go to the ocean. I love the ocean. I go there at least 2 days out of the week.
Yeah.
So the things that I love doing, I do. That's how I keep my balance.
Yeah, but a lot of people, you know, they don't know whether they have somebody in their life that struggles with addiction or not, because we get caught in this every day. Ben, how many times have we spoke in the morning and it's like, oh, it's Groundhog Day?
No, I say it every day.
The same thing.
That's like my go-to reply at the gym. Oh, what's up, Ben? I'm like, oh, Groundhog's Day, you know?
Yeah. Which is okay to a certain extent, you know, but there's, you know, there's stuff that we need to do, exploring, and that kind of goes back to the community aspect of it.
And the endorphins that doing something that you once loved and bringing it back into your life and finding, like, whatever that is, it makes a huge difference, like, for your mental health, for your self-worth, for everything.
Yeah.
It's interesting to try new things too. You brought up, like, me with firearms. At first, like,
I feel like that's kind of worn off a little bit.
has.
Because I know a lot about them now.
Right.
Like I've seen every YouTube episode you could possibly see on firearms, and I know a lot about them at this point. But it was one of those things where when I first got sober, someone suggested I go to the gun range with them. I'm like, no, I'll pass. And they kept asking, and I still said no. And I actually snuck over to the gun shop / range by myself without anybody with me, walked in, picked out a Glock, which I didn't even know. Like, I'm like, what one would you get if you were me? And the guy working there was like, just get this Glock. You won't regret it. And I went and I shot by myself and got hooked. Like, and I was kind of, I wouldn't say I was anti-gun, but I definitely like wasn't into them.
You weren't rocking pro Second Amendment like bumper stickers,
No,
which you don't now.
I still don't. Yeah.
You're
I'm not loud about it.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point, and we'll start landing the plane. It may be on like, you know, wearing how did I phrase that? You don't enjoy it as much as you did before. So, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, you'll fill that with something else.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, I think you should do archery. I think you'd love archery.
Yeah, but the arrows get lost in the grass, dude.
No, they don't, because you hit the target.
Not when they slide under.
I haven't lost an arrow since I was probably 10 years old.
What?
You don't lose arrows.
Oh, I don't know.
The only way you would lose an arrow is if you blow through the target, which is possible.
I shot a lot of archery when I was a kid. Believe it or not.
Did you have a little feather in your
No.
like a?
I didn't have a compound bow, but like I was out in the yard for years.
Yeah,
with the bow.
It's fun. It's really enjoy. Have you ever shot a bow?
I have, but like back in summer camp in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
I feel like you'd be. I mean, it's becoming a very.
It used to hurt my. I don't remember where it was, but it would always hurt my hand.
Your forearm?
Yeah, or something. That's why I didn't like it when I was a kid. But I've never done it as an adult.
Well, you should try it as an adult.
I'm open.
And it's becoming very popular.
Like I like skeet shooting, clay shooting. That's fun.
She did the double trigger.
Yeah. I think I'd like archery too.
It's expensive to get into, but once you have the setup, you don't pay again, you know. But anyways, yeah. So it started wearing off for you, and the only thing I was going to say in addition to that is don't like lock into one thing. Try multiple things.
Yeah.
You know who made an interesting post, and this is kind of relevant, but not really? Jason Khalipa.
About what? I didn't see.
He just posted, I think yesterday, about his wife wanted to take up golf, and she took up golf a year and a half ago, and he did like a short reel on the golf course, how it's like immensely improved their marriage just by, and he's open about it. Like, I'm the last person that would think it'd be like Ben going on a golf course. You know, you guys have very similar builds. You know, you don't just see Jason Khalipa out there swinging a golf club. Pierre, I mean, is a very similar build, but he's been golfing since he was in the womb, probably.
Since he was like 12 or something, but since he was the little kid.
But it was, you know, something that he never thought that he'd enjoy, and it strengthened his marriage, his relationships, and you know, so if we can do those things, I think it helps a lot. So shout out Jason Khalipa. He's a good guy.
He is. He's a good dude.
Do you know who we're talking about?
I've heard the name, and I know if I saw him, I would know, because you've brought him up a million times before.
He was like, wasn't he the first person to ever win a CrossFit game?
I don't think he was the first, but he was one of like the first few years.
Yeah. So super cool guy. Anyways, that's it. So, yeah, Family Reconnect launching. Well, it's a week from today. This episode is going to go out on Sunday. So when this episode goes out, it will be,
the following Tuesday.
Yeah, 2 days. So I'm excited for it. Who knows how many people? Might be 20, might be 2, it'll definitely be 2. Might be more. So, but get in early.
And shout out to the people who signed up, right? For the pre-registration. Like if you guys signed up for that, please like close the deal and join us. You know, clearly there's a lot of interest. So we'd like to see all those people sign up for real.
Yeah, 32 people in total joined the wait list and 2 have signed up. So I don't know what the message, if there's something off in the messaging, I'm not sure. Ben, if you need to like, show your biceps, give them a flex. Why don't you look in that camera right there, right now, Ben, and flex your right arm. Go ahead.
Why am I right?
Oh, there you go.
Why am I right?
I'll do the double by.
So, but yeah, anyways, and if you did sign up and you do have questions, just email us. And you could email us info@realrecoverytalk.com. We'll answer any questions. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited for it. And listen, regardless, we're doing it. So you're either going to get in early or you're going to get in late, but either way, get in. So, any final thoughts, T?
It's fun too.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there.
You got so serious.
What do you mean it's fun?
No, like building relationships, and because we do here at Rock, we do the family program stuff, and like we get to know the families, and we did the soft launch, and we've done Zooms with other organizations, so to speak, where you and we've been guest speakers and whatnot, and people get to know us, get our numbers, stay in touch. Like it's not all doom and gloom. Like you feel like you build family, and that's like what again, clients, the ones doing the drugs and the alcohol, have this unfair advantage because they get all the attention, they get all the resources, they get all the experiences.
Yeah.
Come on, families, like get in on it because you need help too.
Even when we did that little soft launch, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
I had fun doing that.
Yeah.
That's what I was implying.
Yeah, and we get into it. This isn't something that is like, this isn't work for us, by the way. The work aspect of this is editing. That's work. I don't like that, T. But it is what it is. We're going to keep doing it. So, Ben, any final thoughts? How was your vacation, by the way?
It was nice. I don't know what I did.
Okay.
Which is good.
Did you do anything for yourself?
Yeah.
You got a massage. And
Oh,
went
that's
to
right.
therapy.
Where did you get a massage?
The O.
Ooh. He got a nice massage.
He's fancy.
Yeah.
How much outrun you? A few hundred?
A lot, yeah.
Few hundred?
Yeah. I went down to the pool in the neighborhood. We had a barbecue.
Oh, I thought you meant you went down to the pool at the O.
No, my pool.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Good.
Saw that Thunderbolts movie, the Marvel one.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, I went with very low expectations and actually left. I was very happy at the end. Yep.
Yeah. My kids went and saw Lilo and Stitch today.
I probably need to take Kai to see that.
It's another release?
It's like a real one, though. It's not animated. I mean, Stitch is animated, but Lilo's like a
real person.
An actor.
Oh.
I tell you, Hattie crashed her dirt bike.
No, but I saw the pictures online.
Yeah, that was devastating.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like a mess.
The favorite.
You said if she did I overhear correctly? Like you feel like if she didn't have a helmet, she wouldn't have lived?
No, she probably wouldn't have. I don't know. I mean, but she had this thing wide open, full throttle into a palm tree, and the tree didn't budge. She bounced off this thing. I mean, it was just one of those total freak accidents that you could not. I couldn't get off the four-wheeler fast enough to. And I've done it myself. In fact, I did it without a helmet before and ended up with 2 black eyes, busted up nose, the whole thing, So I shared my experiences with her with doing that. It didn't help much, but she was, yeah, I mean, her and Levi were kind of coming towards each other and she went to swerve out of the way, went to hit the brake, instead hit the throttle. And I thought she was going to kind of like go into my fence line, which is lined with Calusia hedges, which that would have been okay.
Yeah.
Like she would have went into the bushes. but she went straight into the tree. And so they're palm trees, and they got these little, like...
Oh, it was a spiky one.
Yeah.
Oh.
And one of the things, I think, went through her helmet and, like, grazed her cheek and, like, scraped up the whole side of her face.
All right.
Poor baby.
Yeah, but she bounced off that thing, dude. I was a mess. I mean, it was like shock, like, oh my God. You know, I was waiting for her to...
Do you get angry?
Yeah, I do.
That's funny because I'm the same way. When my kids get hurt, like for some reason I get like ragey. That's like my response. Like, I don't know what that's about.
Well, I threw the dirt bike. I picked the dirt bike up and threw it. And it's not a light dirt bike, but it felt like superhuman, you know? But she totaled the bike, bent the frame of the bike. It's totaled.
We're done with dirt bikes, guys.
Well, no, I told her, I said, look, like, this isn't, and Maya started grilling me on, are you going to allow her to ride dirt bike? Yes. Absolutely. I mean, why not? And I told her, I said, look, don't let that scare you. Like, it happened, you know, there's nothing, you have to just learn from it. And, you know,
Bethany, the surfer whose arm got bit off by a shark, and she still surfs pro.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how she catches waves.
I can't either, but have you seen her? She's still riding big waves.
Yeah. Anytime I see like a clip of her, it's like she's dropping in. I'm like, how'd she paddle? I always miss the paddle part. I want to see.
You can see her. Like,
that's wild.
I mean, you can paddle with one arm.
No,
but wouldn't you go in a circle?
Yeah.
But dude, she's like surfing pipeline.
Yeah, like big
which
waves.
Is arguably, it's said to be the most dangerous wave in the world. Like that thing walls up over serious like coral.
Wow.
Like really, people die there all the time. Some dude that grew up, like you see it all the time. People that grew up in Hawaii surfing pipeline, like end up dying. Like professional surfers.
Where's that at? In California?
No, North
Oahu.
Shore. North Shore, yeah, Oahu.
Oh, Hawaii.
It's dangerous.
Wow. I tried surfing once.
You can't swim.
I could swim. I could swim, just not in the ocean. I forget how to swim when I'm in the ocean. So
you see all these great whites?
What about
Don't tell him.
In Florida?
I don't mind the sharks and stuff does not bother me. It's the lack of control over like the currents or like all that stuff. Just yeah.
I don't know if things are changing or if we just have more technology and more people fishing.
I think that's what it is because there's always been great whites. You know, they like the Pacific Ocean. They like the cooler waters, but they say they migrate, right? Like from Africa or somewhere because the waters are cool.
Yeah.
But we always have a bunch at a certain season here.
We have them here?
Well, yeah. There was one just seen off of the breakers.
In Juno Beach, they've seen them.
Juno, off the Jupiter Inlet has been a pretty regular thing. I just watched a reel on Instagram. These guys, I think it was Jensen Beach, which is only an hour north of here. Maybe an hour? Yeah. Maybe not even. Like, they were fishing from the beach and pulled in a great white. And the guy, like, calls the FWC, like, Florida Wildlife Commission, we just caught a great white. And they're like, what?
How do you catch a great white?
With a fishing pole.
I know, but those things are huge.
Dude, yeah.
Maybe it was a smaller one.
It was a smaller one, but it's still huge.
I saw a boat got attacked by a great white. Yeah. That wasn't, and I just saw that a couple days ago.
No, this is happening in Florida more often. I'm like, Apparently, there's some giant great white that lives in Cuba.
Yeah, like Jaws.
Just throwing that out there. Do you know Cuba? Because one side of Cuba, like, there is nationally protected by them, and like you have to have a permit just to go out there. Like Discovery Channel, like got a permit like one time or something. At least at the time that I saw the video. But like they have the most pristine reef, they say, in the world on this. It's on the south side of Cuba, I think.
Really? That's interesting. I'll never see it.
Yeah, me either.
I won't see any reefs. All right. Well, that was fun. I'll see you guys later, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, where are we going?
Well, we're going to wrap this up.
Oh, okay.
All right. That is it for this episode of Real Recovery Talk. Thank you for tuning in. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com. And ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message. That is it. We will see y'all later.